We are going to learn about a few new Excel functions in this exercise with dog genetics. So we'll learn more about the index match function today. Um, Basically, we have several dogs here. I just gave them some random names after TV and movie show dogs. But anyway, we have the phenotypes listed here. So this is referring to the physical appearance of the traits that we're looking at. So whether the dog has furnishings, which are basically these little like whiskers, extra hair, furnishings or not. We'll look at the length of the dog hair, whether it's short hair, long hair, and then the type of hair, whether it is straight hair or curly hair. And there's several different genes that correspond to these traits. Of course, these are not all of the traits that we see in dogs, but these are just some specific ones. So basically, we're going to create this spreadsheet that will allow us to look up the name of the dog and the corresponding genes associated with that dog. So let's get into that. So first, I just briefly listed out these traits. And I'm going to go through and explain what we see here. So the RSPO2 gene is what we see with the furnishings. So the dog will either have them present or no furnishings present. So what this means, these traits can be dominant, recessive, or you can have a heterozygous genotype. So the RSPO2 gene means that furnishings are dominant to no furnishings. So it can be a homozygous dominant genotype where you've got both of the furnishings alleles present. A dog can still have furnishings with a heterozygous genotype, so basically one allele is the furnishings allele, the other is no furnishings, but it would still express the dominant phenotype, which would be having furnishings. And then if there's two recessive alleles, so two of the no furnishing alleles, that will be a homozygous recessive genotype. So if we go over here, Lassie has furnishings, so that means either homozygous dominant or heterozygous would be the genotype for this dog. So for the next one, Buddy from Airbud has no furnishings. This particular dog would be homozygous recessive for that. This dog named Wishbone has no furnishings, so that's also homozygous recessive. Snoopy has furnishings, so either homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Zero from A Nightmare Before Christmas would be homozygous recessive. Same for Scooby-Doo and Pluto. Those dogs, those genes are all figured out there. So additionally, we're looking at the length of hair. So on the FGF5 gene, the nucleotide position at 284 is a G in short-haired dogs. In long-haired dogs, there is a change in the nucleotide sequence from G to T. So homozygous dominant would be a short hair phenotype, so 2 Gs. Heterozygous would be one short hair allele, and then the other would be a long hair allele represented by T. So if the dog has long hair, that's a recessive genotype. Basically, two T's. You could write it out in lowercase letters if that's easier to interpret. But that's what we see here. So the dog named Lassie has long hair. So that is a homozygous recessive genotype. This one here also has long hair. This one named Wishbone has short hair, so that would either be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Same for Snoopy. And Zero, Scooby-Doo, both of those have the short hair phenotype. Pluto has the long hair phenotype, so that's TT. Okay, so the last gene here affects how straight or curly a dog's hair is. So on the KRT71 gene, the nucleotide position at 451 is a C in straight-haired dogs, but there is a change in the nucleotide sequence from C to T in curly-haired dogs. So let's see what we have here. Lassie has curly hair, so that is a recessive, homozygous recessive trait. So that would be TT. Buddy and Wishbone both have straight hair, so that would either be homozygous dominant CC or heterozygous CT. Snoopy has curly hair, so that's homozygous recessive trait. Zero, we have straight hair, so either homozygous dominant or heterozygous. And then Scooby-Doo has the curly hair allele or curly hair trait. Same with Pluto. Okay, so we have all of those filled out. Now we're going to use the index match function to give us these genes when we type in a dog's name. Okay, so the function we're going to use, I'll go over this. Basically, in this box here, I'm going to use an index function. So make sure we have the equal sign there. Index, we are going to reference column A through E. So this whole table here. We will need to delete this for now, so it does not interfere with what we're doing. Anyway, we are going to look at that whole table. Then we're going to put in the match function here. So we are going to reference this cell H2. And remember, we have dollar signs here so that it's locked in position and it doesn't move down the spreadsheet. So for the RSPO2 gene, we are going to basically look up this name. We want an exact match, so we use the number 0 for that. 1 is for an approximate match, but we want the exact match. And then we reference the column. So this is column 1, 2, column 3 is what we want here. So right now it gives us this error, but that's just because we haven't typed anything in. So when we type in Lassie, that should give us the possible genotypes for that dog. Let's try, another one, just Wishbone. random dog here. So that should be correct. For the other genes, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to drag this across, but we do need to make some slight adjustments. So all of the index match column stuff is going to pretty much be the same, but instead of column 3, we're going to need to adjust those. So for FGF5, we're going to reference column 4 here. And then similarly for KRT71, we're going to reference column 5. So that should give us all of the different genotypes, and we can see what we get for all of these other ones. It looks like everything is correct here. So, of course, if in real life you had a huge data set, it would be difficult to just search through and try and find a particular name or phrase if there's a lot of data. So that's why this can be really useful if you just want to quickly look up something in a table. You'll be able to do that just by typing in your search criteria. So that is basically how we use the index match function. It is commonly used because VLOOKUP can have some limitations. VLOOKUP functions can only look up values to the left or the right in the table, but index match functions can go in any direction, up, down, left, right. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for learning some new Excel functions.